Hey, this is Danielle. Welcome to the free video. So today I wanted to talk about this ticker that came up in the trading room. It's funny, I almost missed this one because I got to it, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes before the market closed. But somebody was asking me about it, and I love the suggestions that we get from traders, especially when they fit a perfect pattern that I am looking for. So SunPower, it's a solar energy company, and I don't know if you've noticed lately, but the solar energy companies have just been on fire. If you look at TAN, the solar ETF, I mean, these things have just been flying, and most recently they pulled back to this 21 EMA, and now we're also getting a 195-minute squeeze. So looking at this price action, I mean, I love when I have an ETF that's setting up, and then I also love when I can find a stock that's in that space that's setting up as well. Now, the reason why this one looked particularly great is because of the high short interest. So this one has 43% high short interest, which is insane. So normally I look for about 10 to 20%, 43% is pretty crazy. So when you have something that has a catalyst, which an earnings report can be a catalyst, the earnings report is going to be coming up on the 28th. That's going to be next Wednesday. Or a squeeze, either one of those things, or news, that can be a catalyst as well. So when you're looking at this squeeze, you're looking at this earnings report, I mean, there's multiple reasons why this thing could break out. If you look at the pattern as well, I mean, you can see that the short sellers were already having a rough time. You had a lot of volume and momentum coming through here when you broke through that high around 12 bucks. And at this point, what I usually see is that short sellers, especially if something has been trading higher for a couple months, they really don't want to be in that ticker before the report. So oftentimes what we'll see is a rush of short covering right before the report, which will then cause, again, another breakout, and it'll just keep going. So that's what I'm looking for in this ticker. It was up 2.74% today. I ended up getting into this right at the close. I got some long calls in the right here at the Delta 65 about at the 16 strike. I only paid $1.64 for those. Those were pretty cheap, and it definitely was moving higher towards the end of the day, especially as options members were getting into it and everything else. But the idea with this is that ideally, it'll gap up on Monday, or it'll at least trade higher Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday, and then I would close that out before the report. Now, because the options are so cheap, I would be tempted to, maybe hold on to one or two of them, something like that. Because normally I'm not going to hold on to options going into an earnings report. But if there is a potential for kind of a massive short squeeze, like if you look at, let's see, was it BBBY? So whenever you have like 30% short interest or more, if it gaps up, those short sellers, I mean, it takes them a while to unwind their position. So that's the main reason why I would maybe consider holding it. But you have to keep in mind that an earnings report it's a binary event, and we have no idea if this report is going to be good or not. Looking at the past 4 reports, you're 50-50. So that's why I typically do the run into earnings, but I don't trade the actual report. Well, I mean, I would trade the report, just not with the long calls. I would typically sell spreads or something like that. So that is what I'm looking at here today. If you have not heard about it yet, I am going to be having a class this weekend. I'm super excited about it. I haven't had a class since, actually, it was right in the middle of the coronavirus crash. And tomorrow, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving you my formula for how I have earned 600% on my accounts this year. So, normally when I do a class, it's, one strategy, the ins and outs of one strategy. This is actually going to be kind of a masterclass, combination class, because we're going to be talking about my top 3 strategies. Those are going to be option strategies, calls, spreads, flies, and when and how to use each. So if you're one of those people who are like, hey, I only use calls and I want to learn the other ones and when to use them, or maybe you're familiar with the option strategies, but you just don't know the best time to employ them, or you really want to know how to use them to get growth, that would be a great class for you. Also, if you are still learning setups or you want to learn how to maximize your setups, setups are going to be the pattern that you use to get into a trade. So I'm going to be talking about my top 3 setups, how to identify them and how to get in, and then how to trade them. So if you want to join me for that, go to simplertrading.com/freedom. The class is on Saturday from 12 to 4, which is tomorrow, well, depending on when you're listening to this. But everything is recorded, so if you still want to get into the class after it initially starts, you can absolutely join. The recording will be made available to you, and our live trading sessions are going to be on Tuesday and Thursday next week. And then there's going to be 2 days of live trading following the election, November 4th and November 5th. It's going to be crazy. So if you want to join me for that, you know the link. And if not, I will see you in the next video.